Hey homemakers, welcome to today's video. Today let's build upon the thought of building the home economy. I have evolved from just having a homemaker mindset to having a home economist mindset. And today's video is just one example of how I don't just manage resources, but I multiply resources in my home. So, baking day is one of my strategies. For the longest time, my grocery bill was one of those beasts I could not tame until I sat down and came up with a strategy. So, I then decided to just divide my groceries into four legs. So I have my meat. So I buy my meats at the beginning of the month. I start buying my meats and I fill up my freezer. So I've got, besides the fridge that I have in the kitchen, I have my freezer that is in my office that we bought in December as an item that we are adding towards our home economy. So that freezer, I make sure that I fill it up with meat and I fill it up with produce. So when I have meat and I've got produce, at the beginning of the month, I buy my pantry staples and then I buy my baking goods in my baking supplies in bulk. Then what I do is I make sure that I cook more than enough food. We always have food in the fridge. And I bake more than what is needed. And I fill up my freezers with baked items so that whenever somebody comes visiting, I've got something to pull up. Or whenever my kids feel like something sweet, they are kids after all, they're gonna want something sweet, and I don't wanna buy any prepackaged snacks. So now, having done that, I realized something very significant happened. I've been consistently being under budget when it comes to my groceries. So I allocate 6,000 Rand every single month for my groceries, and I allocate extra money for my bulk buying. So I would allocate that much. But now I've realized that I no longer need my bulk buying money anymore. So that's money now saved because I've been consistently now staying around the 4K mark, 4,000 mark instead of the 6,000. Now, here is where building your home economy comes to play. So when I have saved this money, I don't now go and buy random things with this money that I have saved. Because remember, me baking is me using my time efficiently. But I'm using my time efficiently because the goal is not to remain one income. And here's the thing, the skills that I've learned last year have turned out to be an additional stream of income for us this year. So last year we were one income family. This year we are two. Now we've got two streams of income. The goal is to grow those income streams because you are not called to manage resources. You are called to multiply resources. And I think God gave us a clue when He created us women and He put a womb in us. A womb is an incubator. You are supposed to incubate. You're supposed to multiply things. You are built for that. So that is why you would find a woman always stretching meals, always having a plan in the kitchen. You will never be a woman and say there's no food in the house. You will make a plan. Why? Because we are wired for that. We are wired for multiplication. So once I have this money now saved up, guess what I've done? I've gone back and I look because I track our finances and I look, okay, where are we taking our money? And I look, okay, fine, there's this area in our budget. We allocate money consistently to this area. This is a solid need that we have as a family, and we are spending money in this area. So I took the money that I've saved when it comes to grocery. Remember, I have a 6,000 allocation, and now I'm hitting 4,000. So I've got a surplus of 2K, 2K, 2K. I've taken that money that I've saved and I have invested it back into myself as the home economist. And now I am taking classes on Saturdays. I go on Saturdays for 3 hours. I'm taking this class to learn this homemaking skill. I will disclose it later on. I just don't want to spill the beans as yet because this is going to be very interesting. So 3 hours I'm going and I'm honing in this skill. Once the skill is I've got the skill on lockdown, I'm not just going to save my family money because we do have an allocation. So once I can do this thing, we don't have to take out money and pay for this thing. So that means I can do it, we save the money. And not only that, then I can do it for other people. And then that will also generate some income for us. Let's just take a quick ad break and look at the garden. So while I was still baking, I went outside just to get some fresh air and I went around looking at the garden. Wow, such beauty. So there's our lemon tree. The lemons are coming out beautifully this year. Last year, the tree didn't give us any lemons. I wonder why. And I look at the pecan trees. They're looking so lush. They're looking so abundant. And their pecans are in abundance. We actually have two trees. Then I went and looked at the veggie patch. While the tomatoes are growing. We just harvested a couple of months ago, a month or two, harvested some green peppers. They were so beautiful and super delicious. And there is our rosemary bush. It's growing vigorously. And then we also have an herb garden, right? We also have a couple of things on the property. We have a mulberry tree, blackberry tree. What else? An avocado tree, but it's just still growing. And yeah, but I'm in awe of the harvest that is coming about. God has been good with the rain. Just need to trim back a few things and weed the garden. And we also have some sweet potatoes growing and some chilies. Oh, and how nice it is to just be outside and just look at the beauty of God's creation. Actually came out to get some rosemary for tonight's dinner and wanted to get some mint. So you see the mint is so abundant. It's so abundant. So the ad break is over. Let's go back to the topic for today. So we're talking about building the home economy and having multiple streams of income in your home. Where did I get all these things? You go back to Genesis. The first home God ever created was a home of multiple streams of income. Where do I see this? There was a river that divided itself into four, and there were precious minerals. There were precious materials there. It shows that it is a home of multiple streams of income. We go back to the homemaker, the Proverbs 31 woman that most people talk about. That woman was a home economist. She was not just a homemaker. She multiplied the resources in her home. It says with the money that she saved, she went and built and bought a vineyard. So a vineyard in our instance, it's not just a garden. It's a business. She was not just planting that vineyard so that she could eat, but it's so that she could generate even an additional stream of income for her household. So that's the home economist mindset. So the homemaker mindset is just about, okay, let's clean, let's make the house beautiful, let's organize, let's be tidy, and let's create a sanctuary. That's good. That's wonderful. That's one element of what we are supposed to be doing at home. But another element is that we need to be building a home economy. There are so many resources that you have been blessed with in your home. You are entrusted with the minds and the hearts of your little ones, and you're supposed to develop them so that tomorrow they can become an asset to the nation, right? And another thing, you have gifts in your home. You as a homemaker are gifted yourself. How do you harness those gifts? And here's the mistake most homemakers make, right? You spend your day doing maintenance tasks, but you don't take time to do tasks that are going to, or to do things that are going to progress you forward and to build and establish your home economy. So you must make sure that every single day, take an hour, take 30 minutes to learn something, develop a skill, harness your gift, do something that tomorrow is going to be able to put you in a position where you can generate money and generate income in your home. Like, I don't like it when other people say, it's just enough that you are a homemaker. You don't need to make money. But yet, so many of us have the desire to make money. You know why we do have that desire to make money? Because God created us to be like that. We were designed to contribute. We were designed to bring value, and therefore, if you bring value, you need to expect value, right? Wanting to make money is you saying, I want to contribute, I want to bring value to the marketplace, and as a result, I want to receive the value also. We have that innate desire in us because we were made to work. Work is good for us. And let me tell you, you can work in your home, you can run your home efficiently and still have the time to participate in the marketplace and to have something to bring to the marketplace so that you can also advance your family. Okay, because I see a woman in the Bible, in the book of Kings, where this woman, her husband died. She goes to the man of God and says, my husband, your servant is dead, and now the creditors are coming to take my children to be slaves. You know what Elijah says to her? He says to her, what do you have in your house? Woman, you've spent your time doing maintenance tasks. You spend all your days cooking and cleaning. You spend all your days taking care of children. But guess what? You left the most important thing out. You never figured out what your gift is. You never figured out what value you have. You've left your gift and your talents dormant in your house, in your body. You've never cultivated your anointing, right? Because that jar of oil symbolized her anointing. And God was saying, it's time, woman, to build your home economy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying when you're a homemaker, you don't contribute. You contribute, but you can do more. If you learn to steward your time well and do things that are efficient, like have a baking day, have a day where you do all the tasks that are similar and batch and do them together, so that you can afford yourself time to learn, to grow, to develop those skills, and to market those skills, to bring them to the marketplace and bring value and receive monetary value yourself so that you can build your home economy. We take for granted or we ignore the fact that we are gifted. We ignore the fact that we are skilled. And sometimes we take what we do in the home and never think of how we can market it, how we can bring it to the marketplace. You are gifted. You've got so much to offer. Each and every one of us has something to offer. We are called to make the world a better place than we found it. So we need to find out, we need to, figure out. And some of the ways that you can figure out what you are gifted in is to exposure, is to give yourself some exposure. Don't say you can't sew, but you've never tried to sew. Don't say you can't bake, you've never given yourself the chance to try baking. Don't say you can't, you're not good at managing your time because you've never actually taken the time to learn how to do it. So don't discount yourself with things that you've never tried to learn. There's always going to be a learning curve, but the learning curve is so well worth it because that is how you're going to build your home economy. We are really not called to manage and to maintain. We are really called to multiply. God said, be fruitful. Once you are fruitful means be productive. Be productive in your home. But once you are productive in your home, it doesn't stop there. We have got the next level that we need to then multiply. And once we multiply, we need to then go on and do that again and again and again. That is to replenish. And then we're going to subdue. We're going to have dominion in our homes. And that is the ultimate goal. Because we are not only called for ourselves and our families, but we are called for our communities and we are called for the kingdom. So we must never forget our calling, because we are citizens of the kingdom. When you're a child of God, you are called for a bigger mandate. And that mandate stretches out your home. If you look at the Proverbs 31 woman, you see that her needs were taken care of. The needs of her family were well taken care of, to a point where she even extended her hand to the poor and to the needy, right? And even the house that Psalm 112 talks about, it talks about a household that has dispersed its and has given abroad, and wealth is in its house. So I realized by doing this, this has saved me a lot of money. Yes, there's an investment upfront. There's always going to be, if you want to grow, there's always going to be an upfront investment. That's just the law of growth. There's something that you have to put in with the expectation that you will get something more or worthwhile out of it later. So this for me, it's very beneficial. And the fact that I make my own snacks for my kids, it's very beneficial. And then also cooking more than what you need. Sometimes if you don't want freezer meals, you don't have to make freezer meals. You just need to cook once but eat twice. So if you're gonna cook for cook your supper, and you know that also you're going to have lunch out of that. So you're cooking for two meals. You're not just cooking for your supper, but you're cooking so that you can also have that for lunch. That will save you a ton of money. And the next time that you're cooking, also you do that. For every meal, you do double. Even when you're baking, if you don't want to have a hectic baking day and maybe it looks stressful for you, what you can do is, instead of, if you want to bake a dozen muffins, like you want to bake just one tray, double it. Do two batches, and then freeze the one for next time that you might need it, and then you can have that other one. Same if you want to make your breads. If you know that, okay, fine, you just need two loaves, make them four, and then you know that you're going to use the other one at the later stage. So for me today, I made sweet treats because I was filming as well as baking, so it takes more time than usual. So I asked my daughter, she is also very good with her baking. So I asked her to do some savory things. So she's going to make the tortillas, she's going to make some croissants, and then she's going to make some savory cheese muffins. So she's going to make the savory parts and make more loaves of bread, and then we can have that in the freezer. Throughout the week, we are then good to go. Like you're going to see that I bag them into individual bags and freeze them like that. Then I will take out a bag, and then maybe if they are finished at night, I will take the bag, maybe a bag of muffins, then put them in the cake stand, and then they will thaw overnight. And tomorrow we have muffins that we can have during the day. And I also made oats cookies. What I made on this day are my family favorites. So they enjoy the oats cookies. It tastes like, if you've ever had a tennis biscuit, it tastes like that, with oats. So it's like oats and coconut. It's very nice. And then we love apple muffins. For me, apple muffins are our favorite. And then my kids, they like choc chip vanilla muffins, so I always make that. And sometimes I would make banana muffins, or I would make a banana loaf. And I also wanted to make a Madeira loaf. I actually had a list of, I was ambitious, had a list of 8 things to make, but I didn't factor in. Usually I would do it if I wasn't filming, but I didn't factor in that the filming would also make the process take longer. So I ended up doing 5 out of the 8. And then, like I said, my daughter will then end up doing the rest of the things that I didn't do. But this helps a lot. Honestly, if homemaking or the home economy was understood, and homemakers transitioned from a home, just being a homemake or having a homemaking mindset to a home economist mindset, then most women would want to stay home, honestly. And most men would want their wives to be home. If, like, honestly, if you really understood the blueprint and the mind of God behind a woman being home and to build and establish a home economy, who wouldn't want to do that? Like, honestly, the other day, my husband and I were sitting and we were talking about, the things that I do around the home and how much I've saved my family. There's a time my husband calculated that in that year, if we continued in the decisions that we were making prior to me staying home, the difference would have been 250,000. Yes, that's right. Me being home saves my family over 250,000 a year. And I know it sounds insane, but 250,000 is not a lot of money if you divide it across the months. Okay, because over 10 months is just 25,000, right? So I'm saving my family that amount of money. How do I do that? Me being home and educating my kids is saving a ton of money. Yes, we invest. Yes, we buy curriculum. Yes, we buy these things. But once you've bought them, some of the things you reuse over and over again, it is a savings. The things that I do with learning how to cook from scratch, learning how to bake from scratch is saving my family a ton of money. The fact that my teenager is spending her time not entertaining herself but learning skills has made her an asset in the family, whereas I don't have to pay salons money for them to do my kids' hair. Instead, my teenager is the one doing our hair, right? You can build systems. Those systems, they come out of one person. For example, you can write a book. A book is a system because you write the book once. You took the time, you spend the time. It can take you a while, yes, to write the book, but once you've got the book and the book is out, the book is a system. It now generates money for you without ever doing anything after writing the book. Yes, there will be marketing, there'll be other things, but once people know that you have a book is a system. Another thing is that you can create content on YouTube. YouTube is a system because you create a video, the video is done, you created one video, you can still make money off of a video you created last year. You created it in 2024, you can make the money, you can still make money in 2025. I know of a homemaker. She now practices part-time as a nurse, but when she's home, because she'll go in maybe 2 days, but when she's home she sews. She's got her own boutique. She sells her own clothes that she makes, bags, whatever, in her boutique, and she has trained two other young girls to do what she does, so that she does not become the business, and she can leave and she boutique, and she has trained two other young girls to do what she does, so that she does not become the business, and she can leave and she can do other things. So she built a business she built a system through her sewing. And on top of that, she's got a YouTube channel. And then she makes money off of her YouTube channel. And now she started creating content every single week. But she's gotten to a point, because of her schedule right now, she doesn't post every single week. She posts once a month, but she's still making a whole lot of revenue because she took the time upfront to build her brand. So, I like to look at such people and I can learn from those people, because they have done the thing that God has laid in my heart to do. And there's homemaking done wrong. There's sometimes you can look at people and you realize that it was homemaking done wrong. So I've got a lady that I know. Honestly, her story has taught me so much. Her story has taught me so much. We can learn from people and we don't have to go through the things that they have gone through. So she has always been a homemaker. She's now an older woman. I think she's in her 60s. She's in her 60s right now. Always been home. But her kids were never homeschooled. She never homeschooled. Her kids used to go to school. So here's the thing. She would drop off her kids at school. The husband was working a very good paying job. So she had access to a lot of money. She had access to, time. And she came home and she cleaned and she would watch TV. And she would watch TV. Years went by, and now she's old. And guess what? Her husband is no longer working because they've gone to an age where they've grown old. And now, because they are old, there was a time when the husband was generating a whole lot of money, but she didn't play her role. She didn't build her home economy. When the money was coming in, the money was going out. When the money was coming in, the money was going out. She was driving very nice cars then. Their house was beautiful. It had all the fancy appliances. She had manicured nails. She looked prim and proper. But now they are old and her husband is no longer working. And things are now difficult. They no longer have the strength that they have. They no longer have the resources that they have. And looking at her story, I started to analyze, I started to take her story and learn from it, and not from a judgmental point of view, but actually dissect and said, okay, I am a homemaker. This could be my reality. How do I make sure that this does not become my reality? And I said, I started now assessing. I was like, oh, but her kids would go to school. When her kids were in school, what was she doing? Because when I ask her certain things, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do that? Do you know how to do this? She does not have any other skills except for cooking and cleaning. And yes, she could market and monetize those skills. Don't get me wrong. Cooking is a very marketable skill. Cleaning is a very marketable skill. But if you have business acumen, if you don't have business acumen, cooking will just be cooking and cleaning will just be cleaning. Because a homemaker who economized her skills and her abilities is now a billionaire. Martha Stewart, she is a home economist. There's so many women that you can, learn from and look at their stories. So I glean from such women. I glean from women who did it wrong, and I also glean from women who did it right. And yes, there's some women that are winning in the economical space, but they're failing when it comes to rearing their children, when it comes to the spiritual matters of their home. And it's all a balance. But one thing I know is that you rarely find someone who has it all figured out all at the same time. So it's important for you to grab what you can grab from this person, grab what you can grab from that person. And like I'm saying, I'm learning from this homemaker who did it wrong, and I'm learning from her example, and she's a huge blessing to me, because she's showing me what you should not do. Then when you are home, when you are rich in time, and your husband, you don't lack anything. And there's a danger as well when you don't lack anything, because right now some of the people I know would say to me, you are always busy. You always have something that you're doing. You always have something that you're saying, you're doing a project, you're doing a project. What's wrong with you? It's as if, like, I just want to be busy and doing something. But I realized something about myself. I'm a learner. I love learning. And I don't want to be home and my being home be it in vain. Yes, I'm here so that I can be there for my kids. I'm there so that I can train them. I'm there so that they can have mommy. I'm there so that I can take care of my home. But I also need to do things that stimulate me as a person. Because after I'm mommy, after I'm wife, after I'm homemaker, I'm still a person. What can I do that is fulfilling? Yes, being a mom is, I can be fulfilled as a mom. I can be fulfilled as a wife, but I want to also be fulfilled as an individual, as a person of significance. And we can learn from people who have done homemaking right, who have built a home economy, like the Proverbs 31 woman. And we can learn from people who have done it wrong, the homemaker in the book in the First Kings, who later on decided when the husband could no longer generate money. And this is the similar story that I have in person, that I have a person that I know physically who has done that, and later only realized now when the husband is no longer able to generate money that, wow, I could have done something different, but I didn't. And even that woman, the homemaker in the Bible, she realized when her husband was dead that I could have done something different with my time, because now my children are in danger of becoming servants. And we don't want to do that. So build your home economies, ladies, for the glory of God. And here's the thing, we can be tempted when we are home. I spoke about, the trap of being home and lacking nothing. Sometimes your husband can be having a good job where you don't have to worry about food, about your everyday expenses, because everything has been covered and he's taking care of everything. But one thing I have learned from the Lord, one thing he has taught me, he said to me, when your husband is playing good offense, you be a good defense. So when he is bringing in the money in the home, you defend that money. You make sure that that money becomes pregnant. Make sure that that money makes money babies, so that you can live off the baby money. And the mommy money can be the money that you acquire assets with. so that those assets can then generate you money, and that your household will not remain as a one income household. The thing that we need to always remember is that God puts a seed in everything that He gives us. When you eat an apple, after you've eaten that apple, inside that apple is a seed, so that another tree, not another apple, another tree, multiple trees can come out of one apple. So I want you ladies now to adopt that mindset of a home economist. I had a temptation quite recently with the money that I had saved from groceries. I really was in the market for a kettle. I wanted another kettle. My kettle is still fine, but it's on its last leg. So I've been eyeing the LC kettle. I went in there and I looked at those kettles. I was about to buy it, but my home economist mindset quickly kicked in and said, you know what? It's better for you to go and acquire that skill. That skill you're going to be able to monetize later. And once you make money from monetizing that skill, the first amount of money you make from monetizing that skill, then you will reward yourself with that kettle. And then that means I will not be buying that kettle from my mommy money. I will be buying that kettle from my baby money after my mommy money has become pregnant and has made a baby. So let's think like home economist, homemaker, so that we can thrive where we are. He has placed us here so that we can grow what we have, not diminish it or just maintain it. If you want us to continue on this home economist series, let me know, and then I will make more videos talking about how to start, where to start building your home economy. Thank you so much for watching, and stay blessed.